Daring greatly in business, embracing vulnerability and building a resilient future. In a world where the pursuit of success and perfectionism often takes precedence, Brene Brown's groundbreaking book, Daring Greatly: How the Courage to be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead, offers a fresh perspective on embracing vulnerability and its transformative potential. In this video, I'll discuss the key takeaways from Brown's book and explore how applying these principles to the business world can foster innovation, create resilient organizations, and contribute to a more sustainable future.
What does it mean then to dare greatly?
To me, it means the courage to be vulnerable. It means to show up and be seen, to ask for what you need, to talk about how you're feeling, to have the hard conversations. You know, when we asked people in the research, what is vulnerability to you? And let me tell you, I was raised that vulnerability is weakness, like most people.
Yeah.
Like that was.
Most people think vulnerability is weakness.
Right.
And you know what? After reading Daring Greatly, what I realized, and The Gifts of Imperfection, what I realized, first of all, is I live in the space of vulnerability. And that is what has made me so successful, is my vulnerability with the audience.
For sure.
And I think that vulnerability is sort of the cornerstone of confidence. I think it's the cornerstone because
I believe that.
Because unless you can allow yourself to take the risk, to be open, to live as a wholehearted person, when you can do that, you recognize that you're really just like everybody else. And that gives you the confidence to be yourself, which is all you really need in life, is to be more of yourself.
And I do believe, coming from vulnerability as weakness, when we ask people what is vulnerability, and they said things to us like, the first date after my divorce, trying to get pregnant after my third miscarriage, sitting with my wife who has stage 4 breast cancer, making plans for our young children. The biggest examples that came up from the research was picking up the phone and making a call to someone who's just had a great loss.
Oh, yes.
And I thought about that in my own life. Like, there's the phone. I walk up to it and I'm like, what am I gonna say?
What am I gonna say? That's what everybody fears.
That's gonna make it better.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can say except I'm here, I'm hurting with you, you're not alone. But you know what, I'll call in an hour. And then I come back an hour, I'm like, oh man, it's dinner time. I'm gonna make a casserole. I'm gonna make an expensive casserole.
We've all done that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what happens when an hour turns into a day, turns into a week, and then it's a month later, and you run into that friend at the grocery store?
Well, you know what?
And you
what
didn't
happened?
call.
Just to show up. That's all people want.
That's
It's for you to show up and say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here.
I can't fix this,
Yeah.
but I'll walk through the pain with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then what is the feeling that we get when we make the call and we hang up? To me, that feeling is when I'm aligned with my values. And courage is my value.
Absolutely.
And you can't get to courage without walking through vulnerability.
The power of vulnerability in business. Brene Brown's research on vulnerability, courage, shame, and empathy reveals the importance of embracing vulnerability as a key component of personal and professional growth. In the context of business, vulnerability can be seen as the willingness to take risks, accept uncertainty, and acknowledge the potential for failure. By daring greatly and embracing vulnerability, businesses can foster a culture of innovation, collaboration, and resilience, building a culture of trust and empathy. In Daring Greatly, Brown emphasizes the importance of cultivating trust and empathy within our relationships. In the business world, this translates into creating a work environment where employees feel safe to express their ideas, concerns, and emotions without fear of judgment or retaliation. Building a culture of trust and empathy not only leads to increased employee satisfaction and retention but also encourages the free flow of ideas, ultimately driving innovation and growth. The role of leadership in embracing vulnerability. Leaders play a crucial role in promoting a culture of vulnerability and daring greatly within their organizations. By modeling vulnerability themselves, leaders can set the tone for open communication, learning from mistakes, and demonstrating empathy. Brown's research suggests that vulnerable leaders are more approachable, more effective in problem-solving, and better at building strong teams. Overcoming perfectionism and the fear of failure. One of the core tenets of daring greatly is the idea that perfectionism and the fear of failure hold us back from reaching our full potential. In the business world, this can manifest as stagnation, risk aversion, and an unwillingness to innovate. By embracing vulnerability and accepting the possibility of failure, businesses can break free from the constraints of perfectionism and foster a growth mindset that encourages continuous improvement. Vulnerability as a path to sustainability and resilience. Finally, I'll discuss how embracing vulnerability in business can contribute to building a more sustainable and resilient future. As we face unprecedented challenges, such as climate change and social inequality, businesses must be willing to challenge conventional wisdom, take risks, and forge new paths. By daring greatly and embracing vulnerability, businesses can become agents of change, driving innovation, and contributing to a more equitable and sustainable world. Brene Brown's Daring Greatly offers invaluable insights on the transformative power of vulnerability. By applying these principles to the business world, organizations can foster innovation, build resilient and empathetic cultures, and contribute to a more sustainable and equitable future. So, let's dare greatly, embrace vulnerability, and create a better world together. Vulnerability, as explored in Brene Brown's Daring Greatly, is the emotional state of being open and exposed to the possibility of being hurt, criticized, or experiencing failure. While vulnerability is often perceived as a weakness, Brown's research reveals that it is actually a source of strength, courage, and connection. By understanding and embracing vulnerability, we can unlock our potential for personal and professional growth, foster deeper connections with others, and create more fulfilling lives. Vulnerability and authenticity. Embracing vulnerability involves showing our true selves to the world, with all our imperfections, insecurities, and fears. Authenticity is about being genuine, transparent, and honest about who we are, what we believe, and how we feel. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open up to more authentic connections and experiences, which ultimately leads to greater satisfaction and well-being. Vulnerability and courage. Courage is the ability to face uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure, despite the potential for negative outcomes. Vulnerability is inherently intertwined with courage, as it requires us to confront our fears and step out of our comfort zones. By embracing vulnerability, we can develop the courage needed to pursue our passions, face adversity, and take the necessary risks to grow and succeed. Vulnerability and empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we become more open to connecting with others on a deeper level and are better able to empathize with their experiences. Empathy is crucial for building trust, strengthening relationships, and fostering a sense of belonging and support within our personal and professional lives. Vulnerability and creativity. Creativity involves taking risks, experimenting with new ideas, and venturing into the unknown. Vulnerability plays a key role in the creative process, as it requires us to let go of our fears of failure, judgment, and rejection. By embracing vulnerability, we can unlock our creative potential and foster a mindset of curiosity, exploration, and innovation. Vulnerability and resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity and adapt to changing circumstances. Embracing vulnerability enables us to build resilience by teaching us to face challenges head-on, learn from our mistakes, and cultivate self-compassion. When we accept that vulnerability is an inherent part of the human experience, we can develop the skills and mindset needed to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and fortitude. Vulnerability is an essential and powerful aspect of our lives that can lead to personal and professional growth, deeper connections, and a more fulfilling life. By understanding and embracing vulnerability, we can unlock our potential, foster a culture of trust, empathy, and innovation, and contribute to a more resilient and compassionate world. Thank you for watching.